Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Alright, let's start a spooky Innawoods/K/thread. I'll start with some OC. This all happened a while ago with my buddy, who I will call Joe for our purposes. Everything you read is taking place east of Waynesville, Missouri. Engage Greentext. Me and my buddy Joe, not his real name but whatever, have known each other forever. Grew up near each other. Both of our parents were hunters and owned weapons. Naturally, we both grew up shooting and hunting and all the fun stuff. When we were both 18 and had just graduated high school, we had the idea to spend a few days in the woods to celebrate graduation. No big deal. We both had in the woods experience. We had some MREs, not Diod, but some off-brand stuff that we planned to supplement with small game. I had my Marlin 22 long rifle, and he had his Remington 870. Before you call me poor, I just didn't want to get any of my nicer rifles shitty. We took his Cherokee out to some trail we had scoped out beforehand, and we were going to leave it and hike out into the woods. Now, before I go on, you may or may not know how shitty the cell service is in Waynesville, let alone where we were. Cell phones came with, but like I said, service was spotty at best. Didn't really matter. We weren't completely stupid. We planned on hiking about 5 miles out and scoping around to set up camp and settle in a bit. We had arrived in the late morning and wanted time to get good and ready, as well as get some small game. All went well. We set up about 400 yards from a small creek and went out with my 22 to hunt some squirrels. Nailed a couple fat suckers who made some tasty squirrel kebabs. Shot the shit for a while with Joe about typical just graduated shit. Girls, school, getting out of Missouri, etc. We each had our own one-man tents. They were set up about 5 yards across the fire from each other. The openings of both our tents were facing one another and the fire. I was reading Catch-22. I remember because I've read that bitch 1,000 times. So I was up for a bit. Eventually put it down and started to slowly drift off. I hear some really light leaves rustle as I go to sleep. Think nothing of it. I'm in the woods. Shit rustles all the time. Suddenly I hear Joe cursing and flipping out. Open up the tent fast as shit, grasping for my Marlin as if it would help. Yell at him, asking what his problem is. He yells back, "What the fuck is yours, asshole?" I tell him I have no idea what he is talking about. He tells me he heard me whispering about some girl he liked that we were talking about earlier at his tent. I told him I was reading and was just about to go to sleep. He insists that he heard me talking, saying the exact shit I was saying earlier. I immediately start tactically shitting myself. My mind was thinking of much spook. I was able to explain it away, though, with him mentioning he may have been dreaming. Yeah, dreaming. Whatever. I tell him not to worry about it and we can figure it out tomorrow. He just nods and crawls back into his tent. I zip up my tent and climb back into my sleeping bag. Marlin 22, please hold me. I don't really get any sleep. In the middle of the night, I hear Joe's exact fucking words in a whisper about some stupid shit about school. Fuck that noise. Grab my Marlin 22 and bundle my ass in my sleeping bag and say firmly, "Fuck right the fuck off." I hear more leaves rustle, but that could be anything. I can see the faint glare of sunlight through my tent's mesh. Thank God the rain cover part of it is over the mesh, or this piece of light canvas wouldn't be any protection. Wait until I can clearly see some shit out of my tent flap and venture out and unzip Joe's tent. "Wake up, asshole." Blah blah, whatever. Joe wakes up, grumbles that I'm the asshole, whatever. Decide not to mention that I heard his voice last night. Don't want to sound weak. We wanted to go out a few more miles that day to see if we could go find a bear or something. We mostly just wanted to wander around in the woods. As we were walking around in the woods later that afternoon, plinking at squirrels and trees and shit, I heard something off about 30 yards away. Grabbed Joe's arm and put my finger to my lips. I point off to where I heard the noise. It sounded like something large in size, like a bear or something. Good thing we brought his shotgun. We are both looking down towards the noise for about 20 seconds. I turned to Joe to tell him it probably was nothing. His skin looks like sour milk, and he has an oh shit look on his face. I turned to look, and there is some dude standing about 40 yards away waving. I have shit eyes, so I couldn't really see him clearly. All I could see is it was a dude in cargo shorts, a torn-up t-shirt, and long hair. I thought I saw, and later Joe confirmed, that there was blood on the side of his face and neck. He's just standing there slowly waving at us. I tell Joe that this feels really off, and he just mutters, "Yeah." Suddenly he just says, "Fuck this," and turns and sprints away towards our camp. Not wanting to be killed by this spook, I follow. We get to the camp, and Joe immediately starts packing up. I ask him what he's doing, and these were his words. "I don't know what that was or what just happened, but I have had an awful feeling about this trip since last night when I thought you were fucking with me. I have never felt uncomfortable in the woods, and I do right now. I think we should get out and go home." I knew what he meant, and I felt the same. But I pointed out the sun would be going down in about a half an hour, and we had a long hike back to the car. I told him our best bet would be to build a big fire and wait it out until morning. He knows I'm right, and just silently nods his head and puts his shit back. We agree that both of us would feel better if we weren't alone at all times. At this point, we were way past the don't want to be a coward phase. That point where you don't care about things and you are just scared shitless happens way faster than you think. We needed to gather firewood, so I said I would gather shit if Joe would be nearby with his 870. While I'm gathering, I was way more in tune with shit going on around me than usual. Usually I can shrug off stuff like leaves making noise and I don't even pay attention to it. Not then. Every sound I would snap up my head and scan the woods. Joe is the same way, but more jumpy, occasionally muttering shit to himself. We move back to our camp and I toss down the firewood near the fire. I start to move toward my tent when I look up, and I notice that I was walking towards Joe's tent instead. He had the same what the fuck look on his face that I did. We looked at each other and said nothing. We were at the point where we would rather not think about shit like that. We would just silently agree that not acknowledging it was the best bet. We wanted to both stay up, how could we sleep anyway, and watch over stuff. Classic ass on ground, back to back, watching the woods. We ate our MREs. I had something like macaroni and beef in sauce. Side note, it was bready good, and threw the packaging in the fire. We shot the shit for a while to keep ourselves distracted and alert, but eventually ran out of stuff to talk about. Me with my Marlin and he with his 870, just scanning the woods, trying to stay alert. I was thinking about school and my one hot teacher and drifting off when Joe blasted his 870 off right near my goddamn ear. Holy shit, let me tell you, you don't know how loud that is until you have had that happen to you. Needless to say, I was jarred from sleep and scrambled up. What the fuck, dude? I fucking saw it, man. I looked off to where Joe was facing, but I saw nothing but a messed up tree. Shit. Scan around, but I don't see anything. Whatever was there is either gone or blown to shit, I said. My ears were still ringing like hell, and there was no chance in hell I was going to drift off again. At this point, it was about 3:30, standing up now, just watching out for shit. Put some more wood on the fire. Keep that burning bright. Keep my scanning on high alert. I have to piss. I am not going into the woods. Look out towards the woods. See the waving dude just standing there kind of behind a tree. Start firing at it. Joe's turn to yell, "What the fuck?" I fucking saw it too. I fired all of my rounds, 4-round mag master race, in my panic, so I need to reload. I don't want to be vulnerable, so I whisper that I need to reload to Joe. Reload as fast as possible, all good in the hood. The sun slowly begins to show its beautiful face. We pack up as fast as possible while keeping eyes on the woods around us. Start back towards the car. The first couple of miles are fairly uneventful, aside from schizoing ourselves. I could have sworn I saw a flash of something on the way back, but I figured it was sleep deprivation. About 1.5 miles out from Sweet Freedom. Suddenly Joe stops dead in his tracks. I almost run into him. I see what he's looking at. It's the waving dude. He's about 20 yards away. He starts walking toward the thing. Joe, what the fuck? Starts firing shots at it. They are either missing or going through it or something. Again, I can't see that well, but I don't think it bled at all. Eventually, the thing sprints off into the woods, faster than any person I have ever seen in my life. Joe starts running after it, but I grabbed him before he could get far. He looks at me and says, "Dude, we need to go. Now." Q sprinting away towards the car. We made it back. I thought my lungs were going to explode. It took us about 15 minutes, give or take, to get back. We load up our shit, get in the car, and skedaddle. We talk about it now and again to speculate, but it's just a story. We tend not to tell it to people we don't know too well. We told our parents we just got bored and wanted to come back. Both of us are fine in the woods now, but we don't go back to the place where we experienced all that shit. That's all. Maybe it isn't super scary or intense, but we noped really fast like intelligent people. It's kind of hard to describe how scary it is until you experience it.
I've had an experience with an Ozark howler. Don't expect much, I'm not a storyteller. Be December of last year. Be 18, aspiring powerlifter. Not fat, but thick. Planning a hunting trip in the mountains with my uncle. My uncle used to be a big powerlifter. He's thick like me, but he's hella strong. Be staying with some family in Mountain Home, Arkansas. There's elk in them there woods.jpg. If I see one, I'll shoot it. I don't have a tag, but fuck the game wardens. We woke up at 3 a.m. so we could get in the woods and situated before the deer get moving. We drive for 45 minutes and hike about 3 hours into the woods. I have my Tacticool SKS and Uncle Anon has his Mosin because we're both poor. My uncle helps me get situated because he had already killed a deer and he wanted me to. I end up so well situated in my blind that you couldn't find me if I don't guide you in with my flashlight. He leaves me there and walks off with his collapsible stand and tells me to wait on him to get back. I sit there all day and don't see shit. The sun starts going down and I'm getting spooked. Uncle Anon, hurry the fuck up. I'm fully spooked and I see my uncle sprinting towards me with his flashlight going up and down with his arms. He says hurry up and pack up because something followed him there. DEFCON1.gif. I hurry up and pack while he watches the woods. Almost immediately, this smell hits us. Smells like old cat piss mixed with fresh-cut pomegranates. We walk for about an hour. We hear this scream that sounds like an autistic gorilla being shot in the gut 3 times. We are both beyond spooked. We start jogging back now. We start to hear leaves crunching behind us. We don't want to acknowledge it, so we ignore it. We jog for about 30 to 45 minutes. We stop to take a break because LOL's cardio kills your gines, so we don't run much. We hear leaves crunching still, but it's no more than 40 yards away. It gets closer, about 30 yards. We hear the scream again. Fuck it, I want to know what this thing is. Mind you, we had the feeling of being watched and being hunted the entire time. We had also been smelling it the entire time. I hold my flashlight in my left hand, shoulder my SKS, and point it. I still have the howler etched into my memory, a grizzly bear-sized cat. It was about 4 feet tall at the shoulder. It had dark-colored fur and fucking horns like a fucking mountain ram. I remember its eyes especially, piercing green. It screams again and starts running toward us. Uncle Anon and I are at DEFCON -30 at this point. I dump my entire 30-round Tacticool mag. For once, it doesn't stovepipe, LOL. Uncle Anon is firing and racking the bolt on his nugget as fast as he can. I don't know if we killed it because we didn't stick around. After we finish mag dumping, we turn and sprint like we did 2 hours of cardio every day back to Uncle Anon's truck. All that said, the howler never seemed unnatural, like all these bullshit skinwalker stories make the monster out to be. It was an animal, and it fucked my mind up really good. I still have nightmares about it, and I've been going to a therapist who I've told that we were attacked by a mountain lion for obvious reasons.
Go in the Pennsylvania woods with two buddies. Been camping with them before, all experienced in the woods. Decide to do a stalker, the road. Apocalypse survival-themed camping weekend. Bring only canvas dog tents, milsurp gear, and surplus rifles. Everyone brings a gas mask. Head off to an area I know that has an abandoned industrial area from the 20s. Set up camp along the crumbling brick walls of 100-year-old warehouses. Get the fire going, cook dinner, jolly good time. And then friend Dan grabbed and leveled his AK and started shouting, "Who the fuck are you?" Look over at where Dan is pointing his AK. About 30 yards from our camp is a man's figure, standing in the dark, glowing with soft white light. Just as my mind starts to process what I'm seeing, the man takes a slow step back and just disappears instantly. All three of us squawking, "What the fuck?" Takes me a solid 10 seconds of pure terrified panic until I realize what happened. It was dark in camp behind the walls. The last rays of sunlight coming through a gap in the wall 30 yards away. A homeless guy walked up on us. The lighting phenomenon made him appear to glow. Calm Dan down. Spot the homeless guy curled up in the fetal position on the ground. Explain what happened. Everyone has a good laugh. The homeless guy asks if we have any drugs he can do with us, and would suck us off. Give him a can of Bush's baked beans, told him to watch out for blowouts, and sent him on his way.
I've been shot at in regular hunting season, wearing all my orange by idiots who just shoot at movement in a bush. Me and Pops out hunting on public land. It's deer season, a state holiday here in Alabama. Dad had a Savage 99, I have his dad's 99. Find a spot to set up. Still wearing all our orange because deer are color blind. Starting to set up our blind. Hear some rustling in the woods nearby. Stop immediately, thinking we've gotten lucky. Hear a couple of voices, they sound like they're passing through. Go back to setting up. All of a sudden the voices go quiet. Pay them no mind, they were going to scare off anything nearby by talking as loud as they were. Suddenly, bang! A bullet whizzes by. It's hard to describe if you've never had a bullet fly past you. It sounds just like it does in the movies, but at the same time you can actually feel the slight pressure change as some lead flies past you at Mach 2. Dad screams something to the effect of "Knock it off, assholes, there's fucking people over here." Another shot flies past us. We look at each other, aim in the general direction of the people shooting at us. Two idiots not wearing orange or camo, just plain street clothes and an AR. I fire at their feet. Dad fires at a tree near them, I think. Both our savages are in 308. They start panicking, yelling at us that we're the assholes. Yell back that if they don't leave, we're going to keep shooting. They leave. We decide to pack up because the commotion has undoubtedly scared off any deer in the area. This happened to my father on another occasion afterwards. That feeling when almost shot by two city slick hipsters who thought they were Billy Badass hunting deer with an AR. Public land. Not even once. And Yankees wonder why people down south are so inhospitable and rude. It's because of shit like that. If they had stopped, asked us for some directions for another spot or something, we would have given them some jerky and sent them on their way.
I might as well post my only two spooky instances. Be around 14 years old or so. My friend's family has a lot of property in the middle of the woods. Go over there fairly often to goof off, ride quads, shoot 22 long rifles and BBs and stuff. Be stupid kids. His house and yard is clear of all trees and stuff for a good 125 yards square. Then it's just surrounded by trees and a single driveway. The nearest neighbor's house is about a 20-minute walk away. My friend's property has a few trails for walking and a few pretty wide trails for riding quads, but the rest is just woods with little to no trails carved out. That's where all the fun always is because trails are repetitive and wild woods are more fun. Heading out from his house in one direction into the woods for about 15 minutes, it comes to a clearing. The clearing is a field that is fairly large. It's all thistle, like you can't see the ground because the thistle all grows so close together. Never go past this part because it's spiky, but this day we decide to check it out. He has a .22 long rifle, and I have his .22 long rifle pistol just for goofing off, with no intention of shooting anything. Late afternoon, so the sun will be setting in an hour or so. We're using sticks to beat the thistle down and making a little progress just for the hell of it, staying pretty close to the woods on our side because we didn't want to go straight into the middle of the thistles. We should probably head back because it's getting late. We do so. Instead of going back the way we came, we take the shorter route of going into the woods along our side, then heading back to his house. Reach one of his wider quad trails. Follow this trail back to the house. We're walking along and we keep hearing rustling behind us. Don't think much of it, but it keeps happening and we start getting nervous. The sun has started to set and it's that time of day where it's still light out, but everything is shadows. The rustling behind us persists. My friend turns around. I hear him say, "Dude." I turn around. Standing in the middle of the trail is a large bipedal thing, about 10 yards away from us. Everything is shadowed because it's dusk. All I can make out from it was that it was tall, and it had very thick limbs. I've always been fairly tall. 23 now and 6'1". Not sure how tall I was at that age. The top of its head came up to where its nipple would be, so it had a good 3 feet on me. It just stands there. I kinda yell and cry out some incoherent yell brought on by fear. Notice my friend has already started running. I turn and do the same. Booking it as fast as I can, look over my shoulder. It isn't as close as it was at first, but it's definitely following us. Getting darker and darker outside. Yell something like, "It's still here." Friend and I just keep running. Check over my shoulder a few more times. It's still there following us, but each time it's slightly farther away. Eventually reach his yard and it's dark by now. His motion detector lights on his house turn on. We run inside his back door and lock it. Still freaking out, catch our breath. Decide to be big, bad, tough guys and go back with real guns. I have his 20 gauge and he has his dad's 12 gauge. Go back into the woods with lanterns strapped to our belts, headlamps on our heads, and mag lights in a backpack. Find nothing. It's dry out and pine needles are covering everything and we don't even find prints. Go home. Don't really talk about it ever again. I haven't spoken to him in 5 or 6 years. But even before that happened, he always talked about how sometimes the woods by his house made him feel weird. The other one isn't as spooky, but it's still weird. This one here was full-on terrifying. And number 2, be around 19. My grandparents have a house in the middle of the woods. They have a well-manicured yard around their house, and then it's just woods all around. The nearest neighbors are about a 10-minute drive away. They plan a trip to Ireland and ask me to house sit for them. I pretty much get paid to live in their house in the middle of the woods for 3 months. In the middle of the stay, I have a friend stay with me for 2 or 3 weeks. He packs up his drum set in his truck and drives out here to hang out for a few weeks. I have my guitar, amp, board, and a little 4-track recorder. Spend our time jamming and recording just for fun as loud as we want, because there are no neighbors to hear it. There were some guns in the house. I brought a Marlin 60 and an SKS. My friend brought a shotgun and some clays to sling around. One night we're jamming like every other night and just having fun. My friend keeps stopping and saying he hears a girl talking. It couldn't have been the TV or radio or anything. I think nothing of it and think he's just hearing things. It keeps happening while we're jamming. He hears it, but I never do. He starts saying that it's coming from outside. We stop playing so it's actually quiet, and then I hear it too. It's a girl's voice coming from outside. It's like midnight or so. My grandparents' neighbors are all old, and again they live a ways away, and they have no reason to come out here this late. We just sit tight and be quiet and wait to hear it again. A few minutes go by and we do. A girl's voice from outside, can't make out what she's saying, but it's just right outside. I grab my SKS. My friend grabs his shotgun. Turn on the few outside lights and grab some flashlights, which was kinda stupid as we couldn't really hold the flashlights if we needed to use the guns, but that's all we had. Walk slowly around the house without saying a word. It's dead silent outside. We end up just standing on the back porch with flashlights and keep scanning the woods. See nothing. Hear nothing. Then we hear the girl's voice again from around the house. Run over there. Nothing. Go into the woods in that area. Only for a few yards. Nothing. Still quiet. Go back to the back porch, nothing. Eventually go back inside, lock up and close the blinds, sit there and eventually start talking about it. The spookiness kinda wears off after an hour or so. There are 2 couches in the living room, and we decide to each sleep on a couch tonight. Set up for sleep and hop in to go to bed. Hear the girl's voice again. We don't go outside. We just lay there and listen. It happens sporadically, but never more than 2 times an hour. Eventually, we fall asleep. Wake up in the morning and go outside to check it out in the daytime. Everything is normal. It doesn't happen again while he's there, and only happens one other night about 3 or 4 weeks after he went home. The one other night it happened again, I just grabbed my rifle, locked up the house, and shut the blinds. I didn't hear it as often when I was alone as we heard it when my friend was there. We never could make out what the voice was saying. It was the same repeated sentence or whatever, but we never could make out words. My grandparents have lived out there forever, and I know all of their neighbors well enough to have them at our Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners and whatever. They're like aunts and uncles to my dad, and there are no young people out there. Just old people living in the woods.
Almost killed on a daily basis. Driving on Interstate 4 yesterday. Always leave space between cars. Never tailgate because it helps nothing and creates traffic. About 70 feet between me and the car in front of me. In the right lane, want to get into the center lane. Shoulder check because of safe driving habits. Wasn't looking for more than half a second. Determined that the center lane is clear to go into. My girlfriend in the car shouts, "Whoa!" Snap my head back and see the cars in front of me stopped dead. I was scanning ahead before and everything was clear. Slam on the brakes and swerve to the left, narrowly avoiding a 50+ miles per hour collision. Look over at the tard in the car ahead. He had stopped because there was a plastic 5-gallon bucket off to the side on the shoulder, slightly poking onto the road. My face when I almost died along with my girlfriend because some fucker doesn't understand how to drive.
So this is not really in the woods, and I don't know how to Greentext, but here goes a short, unexplained what the fuck moment. Be me and my wife driving on a state highway in eastern Washington state between Spokane and the Tri-Cities in the middle of the afternoon. Normally there are plenty of cars on this stretch of highway, but for whatever reason we were all alone at this time. We are driving by this drainage culvert thing, and I look just in time to see some dark furred creature duck down behind the culvert. I didn't see a head, probably just its back. I think nothing of it until my wife says, "Anon, did you see that?" She sounds kind of weird, so I glance over, and she has tears streaming from her eyes down her cheeks. Her eyes are already red. I say, "What? That animal on the side of the road?" She says that thing was standing upright, not like a bear, but like a person, and then it ducked down. I must have just missed seeing it upright and saw it as it was in the process of hiding. My wife is crying uncontrollably now, and I ask her if she's scared. She says no. I have no idea why I'm crying, but seeing that thing, she wouldn't call it an animal, for some reason was the saddest thing I've ever seen. She keeps insisting she is not scared, just completely and utterly sad. I console her for a bit, and she calms down after 10 minutes or so. Now my wife is not a crier and she doesn't scare easily, but seeing that thing gave her such a visceral response that it shook her to her core.
You ever been out in the woods with an asshole? Me and some buddies out at a cabin in the woods. Drinking heavily, shooting guns, cooking food, not particularly superstitious, but always avoid saying skinwalker in the woods because it's bad fucking juju. We told our buddy Steve this. He thought it was hilarious. Continued drinking heavily, cut a sawhorse in half with bullets. Steve spends the time we're not shooting screaming into the woods about how skinwalkers are weak, and he wishes a dead Injun would. We happen to be on the Trail of Tears corridor. Consume delicious food and potatoes. Steve takes every chance to provoke vengeful plains witch doctors. Black out. Apparently cut a deal with the devil. Wake up feeling refreshed. Pack up our shit. Leave. The day after we get back in town, the starter on Steve's truck, the one we used to go out there, dies out of the blue. The good news is I found a way to back out of a deal with Satan.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.